Hi, I'm Robert Bentley, head coach of Legacy Mixed Martial Arts Fight Team. This is a follow-up video on a segment that I did today on WGM Sports Center Radio. So what I wanted to do today is share with you some ab and core exercises that a lot of my MMA guys use, and also my fit and conditioning class. We do this all the time in that class, different exercises to work the core part of your body. Now, the things to keep in mind are you have 6 different muscle groups in your abs. So we want to try to target all 6 of those muscle groups with each exercise that we do. Some exercises may target 3 of those muscle groups, but we want to try to get to all 6 of them as much as possible. When you're doing these exercises, make sure that you use caution. Get warmed up a little bit first. Maybe go for a little run or something. I always recommend warming up before you do an exercise, and make sure to stretch afterwards, especially in your abs. I talked about on our radio show today that your abs are actually going to develop when they're resting. That means stretching as well. So here's a few tips. Hope you enjoy it, and train hard, fight easy. All right, this first exercise is called an L-sit. This is one that you see a lot of gymnasts use, where they're going to lift their body up off the ground with just their arms. It's definitely going to work your shoulders a little bit too, but you'll see the point where it really targets your abs. So what I'm doing is I'm sitting on the ground here. I'm going to put my hands flat on the ground. I'm going to try to lift my body up off the ground and then hold it for just a second. And then my body's going to be sliding back as I go, right here. Just like this, and I'm just going to work my way all the way down the floor. Where you see this in MMA is when a guy's got his guard and he's trying to use the cage to walk up, so he starts pushing his way back, gets right to here, L-sit. Boom, coming out, turning against the cage. All right, here we go, the sledgehammer. Now obviously whenever I'm swinging a sledgehammer, I'm working more than just my core. I'm working my arms, I'm working my legs, trying to lift up, chop down, just like you're chopping an axe. I'm using my friend here, the tractor tire. Most of my audience, you guys are from Oklahoma or Illinois or Missouri, somewhere in the Midwest, and so you guys shouldn't be short-handed of tractor tires. But if you don't have one, come train with me. We have 2 of them here at Legacy. So I need to make sure that I grip this at the top, and I'm going to let my hands slide down. I'm going to lift up with my legs. I'm going to try to get as high up in the air as I can, and then this slides down, hands together, boom, I hit the tire. Make sure that doesn't bounce back up and hit you in the face. Doesn't feel good from what I hear. Also, I always tell my students, be careful with the mats, and don't rip my mat, because I'll rip your face off if you do. But the thing is, you really got to watch your foot too. So be careful that you don't miss the tire. I'm also going to alternate, so I come up and down. Here, up and down. I'm using my whole body to do this, and that's why it works the core so well. You've got a twisting motion, working those obliques, chopping down. You just have to make sure that you're warmed up before this one. You don't want to hurt your back. Now, if you don't have a tractor tire or a sledgehammer laying around, then we go to my other friend right here. Use a medicine ball. You can do wood choppers here just by jumping up in the air and chopping down. All right, this next exercise is the kip-up. Not everybody can do this at first, but keep drilling it over time, you'll be able to get it. This is not a kip-up instructional video. If you want that, go somewhere on YouTube and find it. I'm not an expert at kip-ups. I just like to do them for exercise. So a kip-up is where I'm going to lay down on my back. I'm going to let my legs go over my head here, and then I'm going to push my feet forward and try to snap up and stand up at the end of it. Okay, if you can't do a full kip-up, then just do this exercise, going back, up, get to your feet, and push up. That's a great exercise too. If you can, you're going to use your hands to push and snap up right here. And then you just sit down and do it again. And then eventually, maybe if you can pull your hands out and do it with no hands. You got to be really careful that you don't hurt your neck or your back. Again, always warm up first. There's your kip-up. Okay, this one's the tripod. I learned this from my jiu-jitsu coach years ago, and it just stuck with me. I really liked it. This one, like the kip-up, my legs are going to come back, but now I'm going to roll on my shoulder. Only 3 points of my body touch my shoulder and my feet. So I'm here, I go back over my shoulder, try not to use your hands, feet touch, and then come back up and over. Then I'll go to the opposite shoulder, here, and back up and over. One variation that I like to put on this is trying to roll on your shoulder and just let your opposite foot touch. So if I roll on my left, my right foot will touch. Again, I may need to use my hands on this one, but I'm going to try not to. So I go up and over, foot touches here, keep this one off the ground, push back up and over. Right here. Okay, the next exercise to work our core are going to be knee strikes. So knee strikes, I can go straight in like this, or I can even add a twist as I do it here. You can do knee strikes just by themselves. You can do them with a partner if your partner has a pad and you can knee some pads with it. If you're by yourself, you may want to use a Wave Master. So I'm going to grab here just like I would a clinch, and I'm going to pull it to me and then knees. Right here. Alternating back and forth. I also like to use a medicine ball for this one. And what I'll do is I'll reach and then twist and throw my knee side to side. Right here. Boom. Really, really good exercise. Again, targeting those obliques by adding a twist to it really, really helps. If you're on the Wave Master, you can even, instead of going straight in, try to bring your knee up on the outside of it and bring it up nice and high. The higher I go with my knee strikes and my kicks, the better, the more the workout that I'm going to get. All right, now I want to work some planks. Many of you are probably familiar with the plank position. We're just going to go down to our elbows, feet are flat on the ground, or on the balls of my feet on the ground, and I'm just going to hold it right here. I try to keep my head up for posture. Sometimes if my head is down, my butt may come up in the air, so I'm just going to hold it right here. Now, another variation of this is putting your knees or your shins or maybe even your feet on a medicine ball and trying to hold it. That's just going to add some stability. Also maybe even trying to go up to my toes and holding it here in this position. A lot of the guys in my fit class often have to use the cage wall for this as well, trying to elevate up a little bit higher and then coming down to their elbows, and they're going to hold a plank right here in this position. So always look for variations on the plank. You can use a chair to elevate your feet. Anything to elevate is going to put more weight forward on your body and creates more stability, especially with the medicine ball. It can roll. So adding stability to your exercises is going to develop your core even faster. Okay, next we have V-ups. V-ups are where you're going to do, you're going to take the best of both worlds, a crunch and a reverse crunch. So my feet come up and my hands come up into the air. I'm going to try to make a V with my body. So I'm laying flat on my back, my legs come up, I try to touch my toes, and then legs come back down right here. I never want to let my legs touch. I never want to let my head touch the ground once I start. Right here. I like to do about 10 of those, and then take a deep breath and do about 10 more, and maybe throw in 3 or 4 sets in a row, and then move on to the next exercise. Okay, now we have the kettlebell swing. Before you do this, I would highly recommend that you go through some sort of kettlebell course or really read up on it, know your facts, and know some safety things to watch out for. Every time that I see people use kettlebells, I'm always looking for things that they're doing wrong, and I think a lot of that is because of my coach. I've got a great kettlebell coach in Oklahoma City, Mark Howard. I know if he watches this video, he's going to find 10 things that I'm doing wrong and let me know about it so that I'm safe and so that I get a more efficient workout every time. One common mistake that I see on a kettlebell swing is when people lift it up, they go past their chest. And this can be really dangerous once you get into some of the heavier weights. It can pull your hips forward, and obviously that's going to lead to some lower back issues. So be very, very careful if you're going to do this exercise. Like I said, read up on it and make sure that you look at all the different safety things. I'm going to go feet about shoulder width apart, maybe a little bit broader. Whenever I pull the kettlebell back, I'm going to try to hike it between my legs like I'm hiking it to the punter, way back behind me. The exercise is whenever I pull back. It's not whenever I lift up. In fact, there's no lifting motion with my arms. It's just the kettlebell swinging forward as my hips push forward. Again, I stop at the chest, and then I'm going to yank it back again. I'll breathe in on the way back. Notice whenever I do this that whenever I get to the top, I'm completely locked out. My knees are locked, my arms are locked, my abs are tight. The peak right here is where everything's super tight in my body, and that's where I develop a lot of workout. Then I'm yanking it back. Notice I'm not bending my back, I'm keeping my head up to keep my back straight. There's your kettlebell swing. Okay, next I like to do a Russian twist. I like to do this with either a medicine ball, and I like to go a little bit heavy on this one, so I may even use a plate, like a 25-pound weight plate. Here, feet are going to stay off the ground, but I want to try to keep my ankles together, and I'm going to twist side to side, right here. Trying to go as far as I can with the plate without touching the ground, and then going as far as I can to the other side, back and forth. Russian twist. This one really is going to target those obliques. I really like this exercise when you try to do it for as long as you can. So instead of setting a number of reps, I just try to go until I can't keep my feet up off the ground any longer, or I just can't twist anymore. All right, finally, I always like to save the best for last. The best exercise for your core, hands down, in my opinion, is kicking. When you kick, you work so many muscles in your body. You're going to work your hip flexors a lot when you're doing high repetitions of kicking, but more importantly, you work your core like crazy. I don't know anybody that's a great kicker, a great kickboxer, or a great striker in MMA that's not ripped up. Georges St. Pierre has definitely developed his kicks over the years. Look at Anthony Pettis. That dude is just ripped up, great shape, and one of the best kickers that I know. Anybody that trains up there with Duke Rufus or Pat Barry, all those guys are just jacked when it comes to their core, and I attribute that to their kicking. So whenever I'm kicking, obviously if I do a side kick here, okay, that's gonna really work my hip flexors, and it's gonna tighten up my obliques a lot. I love doing round kicks, whether it's a leg kick or kicking up to the head. Okay, round kicks, again, like I talked about in the knees section, the higher you go, the more you're going to work that core. You can work front kicks, just don't give credit to Steven Seagal, all right? There was a front kick long before him. Even working hook kicks and spin kicks, all right? And try to really put some power, some effort into it. So push with your kicks a little bit. Just really get a good workout. You're going to get a lot of cardio there. Going to get a great workout, and it doesn't have to be on a target. It can be straightforward, maybe shadow box in a mirror a little bit. But anytime that you're kicking, you're working your core. That's my favorite.